Now that I have analyzed the text to determine the setting of the story, now I want to go back and look at how the author is describing this setting. What is the author's word choice, and what does he say specifically, or what does he write specifically? So I'm going to highlight what I notice. I have found that London likes to repeat words: cold and gray, no sun, no hint of sun, clear day but dark day, absence of sun, lack of sun. It had been days since he had seen the sun, and when the sun is going to appear, it will just peep above the skyline and dip immediately from view, which indicates that although there will be sun, there will be very little of it. When he's describing the snow, he describes it as pure white, rolling in gentle undulations, which make me think of waves and waves of snow. As far as I could see, it was unbroken white, so for miles and miles and miles. When he's describing the trail, he describes it as a dark hairline that curves and twists, and it curves and twists, and then it disappears behind trees. He also repeats the word miles: 500 miles, 70 miles, 1,000 miles, 1,000 miles, and half a thousand more. He also describes the far-reaching hairline trail as mysterious. Again, he mentions the absence of sun, not just cold, but tremendous cold, strangeness and weirdness. So now he's almost going beyond describing physically what you could see and hear and feel, but also almost a mood, strangeness and weirdness. And that reminds me of what he says up here about the cold and gray. It's exceedingly cold and gray. There is an intangible pall over the face of things and a subtle gloom. So even though on the surface everything looks undisturbed and peaceful and quiet, because of the lack of sun and how dangerously cold it is, there's an air of gloom or something dangerous about this setting where this man is. I also notice when he's describing the temperature, he doesn't say 50 degrees below zero will give you frostbite, but rather 50 degrees below stood for a bite of frost. And I think that that's interesting. It's an interesting turn of phrase there that isn't part of the normal syntax for us. And I think that just the author does this for me to bring attention to the fact that there's a bite in the air and it is dangerous. So I'm going to go back over to my text box, and I'm just going to collect my thoughts about author's craft and what I have noticed about the words that he uses and how he writes. So we have a repetition of words. I'm not going to type in all of those, but there's that repetition of sun, no sun, lack of sun, days since he has seen the sun, miles and miles and miles. He uses that very often. When he's describing the snow, it is pure white, unbroken white, undulations, and I think that that is, again, It's almost an oxymoron because he says it's rolling in gentle undulations, which would indicate something peaceful like waves, lapping against the coastline, but it has this undertone of something eerie or dangerous. He talks about the trail being a dark hairline, curving and twisting, and that's the only thing that breaks up the snow. It sets mood. A dark hairline, very thin, curving and twisting. I don't know if this makes me think of a snake, just a very small cut in the snow, but it just gives me a feeling of something dangerous or unsettling. And the fact that everything is so far away also adds to that strangeness and weirdness. So some more word choice. Strangeness, weirdness, mysterious. Tremendous. And so in looking at author's craft, it's not just that he is describing the Yukon Trail and how cold and how isolated it is, but that repetition, he's bringing home that point time and time again. It's incredibly cold. It's dangerously cold. There is no sun. He reiterates that. There is some contradictory terms, a dark day, or makes the day dark. That's an oxymoron. When you think of daytime, you think of light, not dark. Just peeping and immediately, dip immediately from view. It's like almost a wink at people who might be out in this area. Rolling undulations of snow, even though this implies something gentle and peaceful, is really actually quite dangerous. Even if it is beautiful, there is a hint of danger or an element of danger to that. So this is what I've noticed about author's craft and how London used setting and described setting, and his choice of words to really reiterate what this setting was actually like for the man.